Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. So this is a special video where I'll be discussing the monthly policy review compilation. Monthly policy review is commonly known as MPR, which is being published by the PRS Legislative Research. So I'll be discussing this compilation for the month of November. So the entire news that has happened in the month of November was being published in December actually. So the entire consequences of event that has actually happened used to be published at the end of the month. So we'll be discussing the compilation. This is again a very important part in your civil services preparation because it is essential both for the prelims, mains and contributing somewhere to your essay paper as well. So let's get started. And before we begin, a short glimpse about the PRS Legislative Research. This was founded in 2005. This is an independent research institute, and this is based in Delhi. The main work is to track the legislative processes in releasing the data and analysis. So if you want to read more about the PRS, you can pause this video and you can read it, or you can better refer to their website for other details. Now coming to the first news, that is revised viability gap funding scheme. So there has been revision in terms of the VGF, and this scheme is very important. Now, talking about India's overall development, this scheme has contributed a lot. So the Union Cabinet has recently approved the viability gap funding amendment, and this scheme would be providing the financial support to the private sector partnership. जो भी ट्रिपल पी इनिशिएटिव्स होंगे पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप्स में, जिसको ट्रिपल पी भी कहते हैं शॉर्ट में, फॉर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट्स दे वुड बी गेटिंग द सपोर्ट फ्रॉम द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. ये स्कीम को स्टार्ट की गई थी 2006 में टू सपोर्ट द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट्स, जहां पे इकोनॉमिकली जस्टिफाइड कमर्शियली अनवाइबल प्रोजेक्ट्स थे उनको पूरा किया जा सके. तो ऐसे कौन कौन से प्रोजेक्ट थे जो कि इकोनॉमिकली जस्टिफाइड थे बट कमर्शियली अनवाइबल थे? वो हाई कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट रिक्वायरमेंट, बिकॉज एनी sort of investment require a capital, right? So there was a challenge. There was a challenge of getting the capital. The second was long gestation period, because any project that you install take a lot of time to get finally executed. And the last is inability to increase the user charges for the commercial level, right? So these were the three unviable commercial target, because of which the scheme of viability gap funding, also known as VGP, was actually have come up. Now coming to the other part, that is under the existing scheme, the central government that would provide VGF cover up to 20% of this project. So this is, I'm talking about the central government, so the union government, right? Under the union government. Now talking about in the revised scheme, the VGF जो होगी that would be approved in the following kind of infrastructure projects. कुछ जो social infrastructure projects हैं उनमें approval दी जाएगी. वो कौन कौन से projects हैं? I will tell you that. The first is social sector. First is social sector, जहाँ पे central government जो है that would be contributing VGF up to 30%. This point is important because UPSC can ask you these data in prelims examination as well, right? So 30% तक जो infrastructure project होंगे social sector में. By social sector, it is clearly mentioned जो social sector होंगे that will include education, health, वाटर सप्लाई, वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट ट्रीटमेंट एंड सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट. मेक श्योर आप ये सारे सेक्टर्स को याद रखें, बिकॉज यूपीएससी टेंड टू आस्क अ क्वेश्चन दैट विल मेक कैन यू लैंड यू इन अ कंफ्यूजन, राइट? तो आपको ये सारे पता होना चाहिए कि सोशल सेक्टर में किन किन चीज़ों को इंक्लूड किया गया है. नाउ पब्लिक प्राइवेट जो पार्टनरशिप होंगे उसमें द प्रोजेक्ट में बी एडिशनली कवर्ड अप टू 30% ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट, राइट? Now talking about the pilot project, the central government and the state government would provide the VGF up to 80%. This is about the pilot project. This was about the social project, right? तो यहाँ पे 80% तक project cost जा सकती है, and this is specifically for the terms of education and healthcare sector. This is for the pilot projects. So दोनों में you should make the difference so that you could easily mark or eliminate the correct options. Now talking about the arbitration and reconciliation, this is basically arbitration and conciliation amendment ordinance 2020. Now the new ordinance amendment which is there, this is called basically it has amend the arbitration and conciliation act 1996, जो 1996 में act हुआ करती थी उसमें amendment लाई गई है. 2005 में भी 2015 में भी amendment थी. I will tell you that part as well. Now, the Act contained the provision to deal with the domestic and international arbitration and define the law to conduct the conciliation proceedings जो कंसिलिएशन प्रोसीडिंग होती है, जो जिसको बेसिकली वी कॉल इट द मीडिएशन काइंड ऑफ थिंग, सो दैट टेक प्लेस, राइट, आर्बिट्रेशन एंड कंसिलिएशन एक्ट. Now, what are the key features? Talking about the inception that actually come up in 1996, यहाँ पे allow किया गया था कि जो parties हैं, they can file application to set aside the tribal awards. जो भी tribal awards होंगे उसको set aside करने के लिए the party were allowed to file in applications. Now in 2015 what has happened? The act was again been amended to state that कि जो arbitral award होगी that would not be automatically stayed merely because application was made to court set aside the arbitral award, right? So ये जो main provision 2015 में आई थी उसमें ये changes लाई गई थी, but अभी जो गवर्नमेंट ने changes लाया है उसके और भी कुछ important features हैं, like जो अब ऑर्डिनेंस आई है दैट स्पेसिफाई दैट द स्टेट ऑन एन आर्बिट्रल अवार्ड कैन बी प्रोवाइडेड इफ कोर्ट सेटिस्फाइड दैट. कोर्ट को ये दोनों चीजों पे देखना होगा कि जो रेलेवेंट आर्बिट्रेशन एग्रीमेंट है वो कितनी हद तक सही है, एंड मेकिंग द अवार्ड वाज इंड्यूस्ड और इफेक्टेड बाय द फ्रॉड और करप्शंस, राइट. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट शुड बी लुक अपॉन बिफोर मेकिंग एनी ऑफ द आर्बिट्रल अवार्ड. Now coming to the part of qualification of arbitrators, जो arbitrators होंगे उनके लिए कुछ qualification decide की गई है. So the act specifies कि जो certain qualifications होंगी, experiences होंगी, accreditations होंगी, norms जो है वो arbitration की separate schedule में mention है. एंड ऑर्डिनेंस जो है इस बार की जो ऑर्डिनेंस है, नई ऑर्डिनेंस अमेंडमेंट ऑर्डिनेंस है, वो ओमिट करती है शेड्यूल फॉर द आर्बिट्रेशन एंड स्टेट्स दैट कि जो क्वालिफिकेशन है, एक्सपीरियंसेस है एंड द नॉर्म्स फॉर एक्रेडिटेशन ऑफ द आर्बिट्रेशन will be specified by the regulations, right? So these are the changes on the part of qualification of arbiters. So this can be relevant because you don't know, whenever provisions are there, they can ask you any type of question. So you should be ready and thorough with all the concepts that are relevant to the news. Now coming to the other news, that is amendment to the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. This is better known as FCRR or FCR, Foreign Contribution Regulation Rule, which is also previously it was also known as Act also, but this is, some amendment has been made. We'll see what are the changes that has been incorporated. So the Ministry of Home Affairs has notified the amendment to the Foreign Contribution Regulation Rule 2011. So the changes has been made in 2011. The amendment has been notified under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. As I've told you in the beginning, this is the Act of 2010. Now, what are the key changes in the rules? First is with regards to the contribution, conditions for obtaining the registration or the prior permissions. तो किन किन लोगों को परमिशन दी जाएगी? तो जो नए changes हैं, so the Act, a person may be accepted for the foreign contribution only if they have a certificate of registration. This is the first requirement. जो दूसरी requirement है, that is prior permission from the government to accept the foreign contribution. And third is that further should they have taken activities in the chosen field and benefit the society by utilizing the foreign contribution. क्योंकि जितने भी आप NGOs देखो, बड़े बड़े NGOs के, they get the foreign contribution, right? So getting the fund is different thing, utilizing it different thing. It cannot be black market. It cannot be like under the roof of the NGO you cannot run any other businesses. So the fund which was specifically meant for the social benefit should actually be utilized in the social purposes. So that is the sole aim because which the changes has been made, right? So ये समझना जरूरी है. This question probably be very important for your interview as well. Now coming to the rule that specify condition for the utilization of foreign contribution. तो यहाँ पे जो registration होगी, applicant should spend minimum of 15 lakh rupees for the benefit of society during the last financial years and among the other conditions. तो ये उसमें एक condition है, इसके अलावा और भी बहुत सारे conditions हैं. It is not very essential that you know all the other conditions. The main points that I have included only, but that should be relevant कि आप ये सारे points को अच्छे से समझ लें. Now coming to the organization of political nature under the act, कुछ ये political natures के जो political parties जैसे जो organization है उनको prohibit किया जाएगा from accepting any foreign contributions because जो 2011 की rule है वो specifically guide करती है government को to clear the organization to be of political nature, right? ये बाकायदे ये mention है कि कौन कौन से तरह के जो NGOs होंगे या इस तरह के जो parties होंगे जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के नेचर में आएंगे. सो दैट इंक्लूड जो गाइडलाइन है 2011 की गाइडलाइन फॉरेन कंट्रीब्यूशन एक्ट के मुताबिक. सो इट सेज कि कोई भी ऐसी यूनियन जो प्रमोट करती है पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के गोल को, वो फॉरेन कंट्रीब्यूशन नहीं ले सकती है. दैट इज अंडर द पॉलिटिकल नेचर. The second is organization of farmer, workers, student or youth with objective to advance political interest on certain group. They would be exempted. No, they would not be exempted. They would be coming into the political nature. तो ये दूसरी कैटेगरी है. तीसरी कैटेगरी जो है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन विच एम्प्लॉय पॉलिटिकल एक्शन सच एज बंद और हड़ताल. इस तरह से अगर कोई भी ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो इस तरह के कामों में करती है या करी आई है, कभी उनकी हिस्ट्री रही है, they would not be allowed to take the foreign contribution. ठीक है. Now coming to the occupational safety and health code, this is again very relevant when it comes to the organized and unorganized sector in India. So this is this can be important for other competitive examination as well. Now the Ministry of Labor and Employment has released the draft rule. This is known as under the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Condition Code 2020. और ये जो ड्राफ्ट रूल है that will apply to the establishment which are under the control of the central government and will replace the 13 previous central law among this. तो जो पहले पुराने 13th law हुआ करते थे that would be replaced and only one rule, that is Occupational Safety, Health and Working Condition Code would be implemented in the entire country. Now what are the key features? The first and the foremost is the working hour. तो कोड ने ये कहा है कि the code provides that no worker, कोई भी ऐसा वर्कर नहीं होगा that shall be allowed to work more than 8 hours. So you cannot work for more than 8 hours in the normal condition. और जो ड्राफ्ट रूल ये भी स्पेसिफाई करती है कि if a person is working over more than 12 hours including the interval, he have to take the rest. And further, no work would be allowed from more than 48 hours in a week, right? 48 hours से ज़्यादा पर वीक से ज़्यादा काम नहीं कर पाएंगे. अगर कोई भी एडिशनल वर्क वो करते हैं तो दे वुड हैव टू, द कंपनी हैज़ टू पे द अमाउंट, डबल द अमाउंट विच नॉर्मल में उनको मिलती है. मान लो कि इफ फॉर नॉर्मल 8 आवर ही इज़ बीइंग चार्ज, ही इज़ बीइंग गिवन 100 रुपीज़, राइट? तो इस 100 रुपीज़ का जो पर आवर का होगा, ही वुड बी गिवन डबल द अमाउंट, और डबल अमाउंट उसको मिलेंगे एक्स्ट्रा चार्जेस करने के. सो एक्स्ट्रा चार्जेस के जो नॉर्मल वेजेस हैं उसके डबल अमाउंट उसको मिलेंगे. सो दिस इज व्हाट द प्रोविजन एक्चुअली सेज, बट नो इट इन रियल टर्म, इन प्रैक्टिकल टर्म, कई ऐसे लोग हैं जिनको इस तरह से बेनिफिट्स नहीं दी जाती हैं. नाउ द सेकंड इज ओवर टाइम. The code provides that if the work exceeds 8 hours per day, he is entitled to take the overtime wages, that is twice the wage of the ordinary rate. जो मैंने आपको पहले बता दिया. Now the draft rule provides that no worker can exceed 124 hours of overtime in the quarter. तो overtime में भी limitation की गई है कि आप 125 hours से ज़्यादा overtime नहीं कर सकते हैं. Now coming to the free health examination, the code provide कि जो employers होंगे, they will arrange a free annual health examination, which actually do not happen, but because of this law, it would be mandatory for the company to ensure कि वो अपने employees की free health checkup करवा रहे हैं. And the rule provide for the employees of the factory, dock, mines, building, and other construction worker that must be arranged for the free medical examination for every work above the age of 45. Right? So these are some of the most important and crucial aspect of this code. Now, safety committee, the code provide for the constitution of safety committee in such classes of establishment that must be prescribed. और जो ड्राफ्ट रूल है ये कहती है कि एवरी एस्टैब्लिशमेंट एम्प्लॉइंग 500 और मोर वर्कर शैल कॉन्स्टिट्यूट अ सेफ्टी कमिटी. ऐसी कोई भी कंपनी, ऐसी कोई भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जिनके पास 500 से ज़्यादा लोग काम कर रहे हैं, दे हैव टू कम विद द सेफ्टी कमिटी बिकॉज दे वुड बी लुकिंग इनटू देयर ग्रीवांसेस एंड रिड्रेसल. Regulation on the postgraduate Ayurveda education. This is again one of the important news that has been reported in the newspaper. And we already had a discussion about this news in our daily news analysis. If you're new to channel, you can also watch that. तो बढ़ते हैं अभी इस बार में क्या इंपॉर्टेंट बातें हैं, क्या ऐसे इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स है दैट वी हैव इंक्लूडेड इन दिस सीरीज. The Central Council of Indian जो मेडिकल नोटिफिकेशन आई है अबाउट द इंडियन मेडिसिन सेंट्रल काउंसिल फॉर द पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन आयुर्वेदिक एजुकेशन, देयर इज अमेंडमेंट इन द रेगुलेशन, राइट. सो क्या क्या चेंजेस की गई है 2020 के रेगुलेशन में, और ये जो नई चेंजेस है वो 2016 की जो चेंजेस है उस पर अमेंडमेंट ला करके की गई है. So they have included some of the important part. This include जो 2020 के रेगुलेशन है वहाँ पे कुछ जो पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट स्टूडेंट्स हैं, जैसे शाल्य कहते हैं, लाइक जनरल सर्जरी and shakalia. These are the surgery disease related to eye, throat, head and odor density must be practically trained or independently performed with a certain surgeries. तो सर्जरीज अलाउ की गई है. तो शायद स्टूडेंट्स तो होंगे, दे वुड बी अलाउड सर्जरीज फॉर ड्रेन एंड एब्सेंस, स्किन ग्राफ्टिंग एंड एम्पुलेशन ऑफ द ग्राइनी. सो ये चीज़ों को अलाउड की गई है इन द न्यू रेगुलेशन. Now talking about the Shalakya students जो हैं, the surgical include tonistomy, deviate septum, cataract और रूट कैनाल ट्रीटमेंट. और ये चीज़ों अलाउ करने के बाद अभी बहुत ज़्यादा कंट्रोवर्सी भी हुई थी एमबीबीएस स्टूडेंट के तरफ से कि बिकॉज दे एक्चुअली स्टडी फॉर 4.5 years और 4 years एंड आफ्टर दैट दे बीन ओनली डेजिग्नेटेड विद एमबीबीएस डिग्री. फिर उनको अलग से एमएस करना पड़ता है, देन ओनली दे हैव द पावर टू गेट द सर्जरीज डन. बट ये स्टूडेंट को मिलने के बाद थोड़ी कंट्रोवर्सी भी अराइज हुई है. नो दैट इज अनदर पार्ट दैट गवर्नमेंट हैज टू लुक. बट योर ओपिनियन आर फ्री टू राइट. आप अपनी ओपिनियन भी हमें कमेंट सेक्शन में बता सकते हैं वेदर दिस डिसीजन आर ट्रू और नॉट, वेदर यू एग्री विद नॉट. I personally feel if the people are well trained and if they are educated, they can also perform, because in India we have a shortfall of medical personnel doctors. अगर ये कुछ छोटे छोटे ऐसे सर्जरीज में इनको अलाउ किया जाए तो it would be better for country as well, right? You can share your opinion in the comment section down below. Now, guideline on the television rating agencies. A lot of news has also been reported regarding the television rating agencies. So this can be a very possible question in the prelims or in the interview. Now, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting had constituted a committee to review the existing guideline on the television rating agencies. और ये जो guideline होगी ये स्पेसिफाई करेगी एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया को लेकर के रजिस्ट्रेशन प्रोसेसेस जो हैं टेलीविजन रेटिंग एजेंसीज की, हाउ दे कैन बी मॉनिटर्ड. And it also specified the methodology for the audience measurement, how the audience viewership and other part would be measured. Like जैसे YouTube में you see the how many views are there, how many likes are there, comments are there. Accordingly, the audience are also being measured in the live television. Now, measurement of television rating की अगर बात करें तो for measurement television rating में existing 2014 की जो prescribe है वहाँ पे जो panel selection है, they have a pool of houses with audience measurement device in placed and sample size is measured for the rating. Or it prescribed the sample size of around 20,000 household, which was increased by 10,000 every year, and it reaches up to 50,000 household. तो मिनिस्ट्री ने स्टेट किया है कि देयर इज अ नीड टू रिव्यू द गाइडलाइन इन व्यू ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट, राइट. तो सर्टेन रिकमेंडेशंस में की गई थी. टेलीकॉम रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी इंडिया जो है उन्होंने इस रिगार्ड में कुछ अपनी चीज़ों को चेंज भी किया, एडवांसमेंट भी दी है, और अकॉर्डिंगली द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ ब्रॉडकास्टिंग वुड बी टेकिंग दिस इनटू द कंसिडरेशन. नाउ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ कमिटी की अगर बात करें तो गवर्नमेंट ने एक कमिटी कॉन्स्टिट्यूट की थी जिसका चेयरपर्सन का नाम था शशि एस वेम्पति. ही इज अ सीईओ ऑफ प्रसार भारती and he has recommended some existing guidelines. The term of references of the committee include studying the past recommendation made on the subject. ऐसे जो पुराने recommendation दिए गए हैं इस concern में उसको देखा जाए. उन्होंने recommend किया for transparent and accountable rating system. एक तरह से ऐसी rating system बने जो कि accountable हो और they would hold people also accountable. Now, suggesting step to enhance the competition in this sector. किस तरह से इस सेक्टर को और healthy competitive बनाया जाए, maintaining the transparency और autonomy would be again of great importance. Now, guideline for the taxi aggregators. This is also good news for the taxi aggregators. The government has provided a guideline. So the Ministry of Road Transport and Highway has released the Vehicle Aggregator Guideline 2020 as per the Motor Vehicle Amendment Act 2019. This is important point that you should not miss out. Now जो एक्ट है वो डिफाइन करती है जो एग्रीगेटर्स होंगे फॉर द डिजिटल इंटरमीडियरीज और मार्केट वुड बी यूज्ड बाय द पैसेंजर्स टू कनेक्ट विद द ड्राइवर और ट्रांसपोर्ट पर्पसेस. जो टैक्सी सर्विसेज होते हैं, जो एग्रीगेटर्स हैं, दे मस्ट ऑब्टेन द लाइसेंस फ्रॉम द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट टू ऑपरेट. Now the state government may regulate the aggregator based on their guideline. जैसे कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से जो भी गाइडलाइन आएगी, the same would be implemented by the state government with a minute changes or here and there. Now the guideline seeks to regulate the shared mobility जो है, जो mobility है, traffic है, congestions है, pollutions है, and providing the ease of doing business for the consumer safety and driver welfare. So these are some of the important consideration that is there in the new vehicle aggregators, or you can say the other aggregator जो guideline आई है taxi aggregators के लिए, उनमें ये सारी चीजों को भी include किया जाएगा. Now, the key features first is the eligibility. The applicant must have registered as a company under the Companies Act 2013 और कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी या फिर कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटीज 1912 के अंदर रजिस्टर्ड होनी चाहिए. बात करें अगर लाइसेंसिंग की, तो लाइसेंस टू बी इशूड फॉर द एग्रीगेटर वुड बी वैलिड फॉर 5 years, आफ्टर विच दे वुड बी रिन्यूड बाय द कंपिटेंट अथॉरिटी. जो कंपिटेंट अथॉरिटी होगी फिर उनसे अपने उनको जो लाइसेंस है उनको अप्रूवल करवाना मैंडेटरी होगा. आफ्टर दैट अगर अप्रूवल नहीं होगी या दे आर नॉट अप्रूव्ड एंड दे आर यूजिंग देयर व्हीकल्स, दे वुड बी फाइंड अकॉर्डिंगली बाय द अथॉरिटी. Now, driver guideline की अगर बात करें तो applicant must also have to comply with the various guidelines with regards to driver. This include testing and driving ability as per the prescribed guideline, such as familiarity, Motor Vehicle Act 1988 and gender sensitization. And the second is ensuring a valid ID proof, जहाँ पे ड्राइवर के पास लाइसेंस होनी चाहिए, पुलिस वेरिफिकेशन होनी चाहिए, ensuring the health term insurance of the each driver as specified. So these are on the part of the driver guidelines. Now coming to the fare regulations, यहाँ पे जो base fare है that would be charged on the city taxi fares inducted by the WPI of the current year. जो भी current year के WPI है उसके accordingly अभी industrial worker के लिए अभी नई revisions हुई है, 2016 की year है. I was about to ask you this question but I actually answered it, no worries. You can also share any other details that you want in the comment section down below. The aggregators would be allowed to charge 50% of lower than the base fare and the minimum surging price of 1.5 times of the base year. Now the driver must receive 80% of the fare charged on the right. So this is something which the driver right has been provided, that he is liable or he is accountable for 80% of the fare charged. Now the revision in the PM KUSUM scheme target, जो PM KUSUM scheme है उसमें कुछ revisions की गई है. This is the last news that would be covering. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has revised the target for Pradhan Mantri Krishi Urja Suraksha Evam Mahabhiyan. This is called PM KUSUM. So this scheme was launched in 2019 for the solarization of agriculture pumps in the rural India. क्या aim है इस स्कीम की? The scheme was planned to end the solar and renewable capacity of 2.8 gigawatt by 2022. So this is the target that government has set. और अभी जो एक स्कीम है तो expand करती है to achieve 3.8 gigawatt, 30.8 gigawatt to enhance the solar capacity by 2022. Right? So this is what the target has been set and it would be gradually expanded. India is doing a commendable job in terms of solar enhancement. Now components of the scheme की अगर बात करें तो scheme is divided into 3 components, that is A, B and C. As per the earlier target, component जो है A, that is aim to achieve 1000 megawatt of decentralized ground mounted grid solar panel. उसके बाद जो component B है that is aim to install 17.5 lakh stand alone solar power agriculture pumps जो individual capacity की होगी, जिसकी कम से कम horse power होनी चाहिए up to 7.5. And the component C is aimed at solarization of 10 lakh grid on the agriculture pumps for individual capacity, that is same 7.5 horsepower, right? So these are the 3 important components. It is important for your mains examination. If you're writing anything in the mains, make sure you know all 3 components of it. Now this was all about the thing, and those of you who are new to our channel, you can watch us also in the daily topic wise news analysis. This is analysis where I'll be covering the news from the Hindu and from the Indian Express, and the most important news of the day is discussed with giving you the additional information to boost your knowledge that will help you in prelims and mains examination. So do watch, do check it out on the daily basis. That will help you to save a lot of time. And if you are again new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe to Aptly+ Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. And if you like this video, do not forget to give a thumbs up. We are open to your suggestion. Whatever you want, you can share your suggestion in the comment section down below. And if you have any other queries that you can want to solve, you can also let us know. And for other details, we'll be beating in the next video. We'll also have the compilation. And for more further details, you can refer to the YouTube section of the playlist where you'll be getting the details of all the compilations regarding the Yojana, Kurukshetra and everything, right? So do check it out, and that will help you to get through the examination, through the preparation mode. So for time being, I'm signing off. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much for listening.